think that is started now. Recording pending. Why is it pending? There we go.
Yep.
Okay, so welcome everyone to this panel webinar event for the Ice Box Challenge. So this is just to give you a bit more information about what the requirements are and give you a chance to ask any questions if you have any concerns before signing up, as the deadline is beginning of May, I believe, for registering. Is that right?
That's right.
And then end of May for your designs as well. So I can hand over to Julio here, who can explain in more detail about what the event entails and what will be asked of you guys if you're involved. Okay.
Great. Thank you very much, Alex, and thank you very much, CEAT, East of Scotland kind of group for this opportunity to present this kind of outline of the Ice Box Challenge, and to have an opportunity to answer any questions and to obviously motivate you to register and also submit a proposal. So yeah, this is a student competition. We are open to maybe having some recent graduates also entering the competition. But it is primarily a student competition. So it's a student competition really in response to the UN Climate Challenge Conference that's going to be held in Glasgow, the COP26 in November, and it kind of leads towards it, and it kind of is in response to that, and we're trying to obviously make a stance there from a Scotland perspective on how students and how the built environment is a big factor in reducing climate change. The competition really has been organised by ourselves at Edinburgh Napier University, but it couldn't be done without all the different industry stakeholders and groups. And I mean, the most important ones, the Passive House Trust, the International Passive House Association, Construction Scotland Innovation Centre, the Glasgow Institute of Architects, and mentors from John Gilbert Architects, and also the support from Glasgow City Council, where this competition will be publicly displayed. So the objectives really of the competition are to create awareness and inspire the public and young architects, young designers, and students in Scotland to build efficiently, to consider the use of the Passive House design and construction method, and to really understand the differences between our current building regulations and the more efficient and specific construction and criteria by the Passive House Institute and the standard itself. So it's really an interesting way of showing the differences both in design and also in methods of construction. And one method of construction we're really keen for this competition to highlight and to implement is the use of timber construction within the designs and the proposals, and obviously leading towards the net zero targets and trying to showcase how good design, good construction can lead to that and reach those elements and those targets. So as I say, it's leading towards the COP26 in Glasgow in November, and the whole idea of the Ice Box Challenge is really to be able to have these boxes designed, one of them to the building regulations, Scottish building regulations, and another one to the Passive House, and to hold ice inside of them during a period of time. And that will be kind of incorporated in the design thinking and the design of the proposals that we're asking you to submit. It's composed of two phases. The first one is this open competition with students and recent graduates, where we're asking you to design these 2 boxes, one to the building regulations, the Scottish Building Regulations bronze level, which is really your bare minimum of construction method and criteria, and another with the Passive House fabric first approach, looking at thermal-free junctions, looking at high levels of insulation, and very airtight conditions in buildings. It then, after the submission of these designs, we will have an opportunity, and the judging team will have an opportunity to select the top 3 design proposals, and we'll be seeking these top 3 groups to present to the judges, and we will be able to kind of distinguish who will be first place, second and third place, and there'll be prizes for those top 3 competition submissions. The first prize, which is £1,000 for the winning team, will have the opportunity to go forward and actually build the boxes, the 2 boxes, together with the Construction Scotland Innovation Centre in their innovation factory in Glasgow, and there'll be that opportunity to obviously engage with also the judges and some of the mentors to come up with the construction details and to actually build it with the team, which would be great. The second and third place second place is £200, and the third place, second place is £300, and the third place £200 as a prize for the competition. So we're looking at really proposals that will distinguish these 2 standards, are buildable, and also are able to be holding this ice and the challenge that we're trying to come up with, to see which one will melt quicker than the other during a 2-week period. So that's really the challenge in itself, to see how the construction differ from the building regulations and the Passive House. So the kind of the last part of the challenge is really to crane and to transport these 2 designed and constructed boxes over to St Enoch Centre in Glasgow, and we'll be able to display them, publicly display them, do a public opening with the City of Glasgow Council and all the kind of interested parties and stakeholders. And during those 2 weeks, we'll be monitoring the performance of the 2 boxes, monitoring how much ice is left over a 2-week period in the end of July, and having an opportunity obviously to understand why one is melting more than the other. We've done calculations, and roughly we're expecting to have 1 metre cubed of ice inside each one of the boxes, and obviously monitoring how much ice will remain after the 2 weeks. It's expected really that there'll be less ice in the code in the Scottish Building Standards 1, and more in the Passive House, expecting that the fabric first and the kind of highly insulated box in the Passive House will be able to retain that ice for a longer period. Obviously we're subject to the weather out there, and usually July is fairly mild and warm, so we'll be able to obviously distinguish these 2 with that information, with that climate. So there's a lot of transferable skills here, and hopefully the teams will see the value of this competition, both for their experience and also for maybe possibly their future involvement with industry, and future work opportunities as well, because there's an opportunity to design, to be part of the construction and fabrication stages, understanding the challenges around transportation, planning restrictions, craneage of the boxes onto the location, and obviously the energy performance and energy efficiency of the two differences, of the two boxes. So there's a lot there that I think, a lot of value there that I think the competition has. So just going through some of the specific requirements, I won't go over all of them because there is a document out there, a brief out there that most of you might already have with you. Or if not, I've got a link there so that everyone can reach. But essentially, we're looking for 3 A3 page size boards that will hold the plan, sections, elevations, a couple of nice renders and visuals of them, a small written description, and also this envelope heat loss calculation, which will distinguish the passive house to the code and is the building standards method. A transmission envelope heat loss calculation, and the brief explains and goes through that very simple calculation there. Just an indication of some of the U values of the different components, the walls, the floor, etc. A couple of sketches of the junctions between, say, for example, the wall and the roof, and the wall and the floor. Something simple, could be a sketch, it could be something that's done in SketchUp, for example, or something similar. And also, we're quite keen in this description of the boxes, what the sequence might be of the manufacturing and the fabrication, and what your vision is in terms of transporting and the craneage, and maybe some explanations there for it. Just some key dates there to note. Alex mentioned some of them at the start, but we're looking for the final submission to be on the 23rd of May. We are asking groups and teams to register by the 1st of May, but we're fairly flexible with that. But we would, I mean, the submission will be on the 23rd of May. And hoping to get as many submissions as possible. After that point, we'll be discussing as a group and the judges' deliberation to announce the top 3 groups that have submitted, for them to do the presentations. That will be on the 28th of May. And then there'll be the actual mentorship and fabrication process with the winning team from 31st of May onwards, up until the 16th of July, and just before we've got access to St Enoch Square, and we're able to start craning and taking the boxes to place and display. So that will be running between the 19th of July and the 8th of August. We've got that space to do the public event. So there's that kind of sequence there of key dates that hopefully are manageable, and we're very much looking forward to some good proposals out there. Just some final words there. There is a kind of registration process where the team emails Louise, who's at Napier with us, who will return an entry code to the group after a very short questionnaire. And that will give the team a code that will be displayed in all the boards that are submitted. We don't want any names or any kind of university link at that stage, just so that the judges are able to deliberate blindly, as I say, without the knowledge of who they are. If there's any kind of extra information, obviously, in a couple of minutes, I'm happy to answer any questions. But beyond today's event, that's my email address. And the brief is available in the Passive House Trust website, in this link here, with all the kind of added information and a lot of what I've explained just now. So hopefully that's just a kind of brief explanation and some kind of key elements there for the competition. I don't know, Alex, if there's anyone typed any questions, or if anyone is brave enough to ask a question at the moment.
I haven't seen any questions coming through, but I see John is typing just now. But I've got a quick one regarding, because this is obviously a team competition. What is the maximum amount of people you're allowed in a team for this submission?
Yeah, we're asking for 4 people, four students and recent graduates to apply as a team. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good to keep in mind in case anyone's trying to get like the whole class in on it.
That's right. Yeah, I think 4 is a good number just to kind of keep the team small, and also 4 people within the fabrication process with all the mentors will be quite
yeah,
number as well.
Definitely good for experience and such.
Yeah.
John is asking, what are the requirements for specifying materials and manufacturers?
Well, I mentioned we're very keen to engage with proposals that are using natural materials, timber, as a primary kind of structure and method of construction. Insulated closed panels of timber, and something similar to that. There are also different kind of engineered joist solutions out there for passive house. The use of natural insulants as well. We're quite keen to use wood fibre insulation materials and similar kind of natural fibre materials. In the exterior, because it's going to be a publicly displayed set of boxes, and there'll be a lot of interest there. We're hoping to get some Glasgow Council representatives coming along, and definitely kind of very much the press will be there. We're hoping that these boxes will also attract attention. So past examples have really brought in a lot of colour, a lot of kind of opportunity for displaying and maybe writing on the side of the boxes, and so it's very much a playful use of colours that we're looking for in the boxes.
Great. I'm not sure if any other. Oh, here we go. Another question. Do U values and psi values need to be calculated and/or calculated for the submission? Yeah.
We're only asking at this stage for U values. We realise there's a short period at the moment, and although in the brief we do have some links to some support from the Passive House Trust and some of the interesting links there on how to design Passive House, we feel that there's a short time to do psi values and thermal bridging analysis. So it's just the U values and the overall heat loss calculation that we're asking for, and the brief outlines these very, very easily.
Sounds good. I think we might have another question coming through just now. I can see someone's typing, so we'll just give them a minute. Yeah, I've also got a couple of messages from some students at RG that just didn't realise the time but are keen to be a part of this. So I'll definitely send on this recording to them so they get all the information and the links and such as well.
That would be excellent. Yeah, and it's my email there and Louise as well to capture any kind of teams registering.
Okay, here we go. Here's a question. In terms of the boxes, do they get manufactured from the designs proposed?
Yes, that's the objective. So the winning team will pass to that phase of construction, and that winning design will be taken forward. Now there might be, like any design out there in the real world, where there won't be tweaks. There might be suggestions from the mentors to maybe change something. First of all, to comply fully or as best as possible on Passive House, and also to make the manufacturing easy enough and doable within the time frame. So yeah, the design will be respected as much as possible. Yeah.
Great. And does SAP or PHPP need to be used for heat loss calculations as well?
Well, the heat loss calculation extract and formula that's in the brief is similar to one used in PHPP. So we're not asking for a full SAP or a PHPP calculation at all. Again, for time aspects and just really to give a bit more simplicity on the competition. But that heat loss calculation is kind of the basis of PHPP and in a way the SAP aspect. So no, the answer is no. It's more of a lightweight calculation in that respect.
Great. And someone's asking, which section of the technical handbook does the design relate to? Is it domestic or non-domestic standard?
Good question. Yeah, well, it's domestic and primarily Section 6 energy. So that's really looking at complying in terms of the U values and certain parts. Now, questions from already registered teams that I've had over the last couple of days, I've asked that in terms of actually doing a full SAP calculation, because that's one of the bases of assessing whether it's bronze or passing Section 6 and to Section 7 bronze, silver and gold. The answer is no, we're not asking for the full kind of criteria and compliance in that respect. It's really just the U values, an indication of the U values, and this heat loss calculation.
Great. And someone's asked, how significantly can the form of each box differ from one another, or should they largely appear the same apart from colours and infographics as shown in previous examples?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I would say that as close to each other in terms of the design, because what we're trying to capture is also visually that they may look the same, but performance-wise it will differ, and that's where the added insulation layers and the airtightness plays a role, regardless of what's outside and what the design is outside.
Great. Don't see any more questions coming through, just John saying he was heading off, so wishing everyone luck. One thing I will mention is that if people on the call are not part of the CIAT aspiration group yet, feel free to give that a search and I'll post whatever comes up for this event in there, as well as any others coming up as well.
Excellent.
If there's no other questions, I don't know if this will time out when it gets to past, because I did get the notification that it was coming to an end, but not sure if anyone has any other questions.
Okay.
We're all good. I can stop recording now and I'll send this to you later.
Great. Well, just finally, I want to say that, yeah, really, it's an interesting project, an interesting competition, easy to achieve as a group, definitely achievable within a timeline. And please encourage others, yourself and others, to submit a proposal. That'll be excellent. Looking forward to seeing your designs.
Right, I'll stop recording now and I'll send this over.